Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. Today we're going to be talking about the Rolling Stones' Brussels Affair 1973. One of the greatest Stones live recordings of all time. In fact, one of the greatest live albums of all time, but not an easy album to find. Now, I have a pretty big history with this album, and I'm going to go through it. But the reason why I'm doing the video today is because out in the wild, I found this huge, massive box set that is really one of the rarest and typically pretty expensive Rolling Stones releases. And I found this out in the wild and pretty excited about it. So, and this is the limited edition Brussels Affair mega box set that the Stone released, I think around 2011, 2012. Limited edition, very expensive, and I have never actually seen one in person until today. So, let's talk about it. So today, I was off today. Me and my wife, my daughter, went shopping. They don't like record stores or anything like that. And I said, many years ago, I went to this store in Seacliff, Long Island called Moonshot Emporium. I went there once, and it was a really cool store. They had vintage clothes, but they had a lot of albums and CDs and 8-tracks, magazines, you name it, they got it there. Hadn't been there in years, and I said, let's go there, and then we'll have lunch out there as well. So we did, and they thought it was a really cool store. It is a beautiful, beautiful store. They're not paying me. They didn't ask me to do this video. My philosophy is if I discover a great place and I'm getting stuff there, the least I could do is thank them and bring it to you. So if you're in the Long Island area and you're ever out in Seacliff, check this place out. So this is the place. I took their card. Moonshot Emporium, retro wares, records, vintage threads, 316 Seacliff Avenue, Seacliff, New York. Apparently, one of the owners, I met him there, is a young guy. If I heard him wrong, he's like 19 or 20 years old. And he knows Joe, the owner of Infinity, the guy I talk about in Massapequa store. So you never know. If you're out in the wild, you just never know what you're going to find. So let's uncover this thing, and I'll tell you a little bit about the history, or my history, of Brussels Affair. So let's unbox this thing. Now, here's the thing. This box is super rare. This is, I don't know if you can see how big it is. So here it is, Brussels Affair. And it looks like that. And the idea, looks like the tape box that you would see on the Stones, archive shelves, wherever they keep this gold mine of stuff. 1973 European Tour, safety copy, 1973. It's got the logo. Nothing on this side. On this side, you got that. Now, I didn't put that. This is part of the packaging. Brussels with the date. And you got that original 16-track. It says right there as well. October 17th, 73. And that about covers the outside of the box. Now, the front of the box is so cool. So you have a reproduction of the actual tape box. First show, the Stones Mobile, Brussels, October 1773. And I love, it's got the titles, but look, like Happy, very good, only hurt a little. Tumbling Dice, great. Dance with Mr. D. Angie with 3 exclamation points, not bad. The best Angie, it says. Can't Always Get You Want. Midnight Ramble, Honky Tonk Women, All Down the Line. So it's got the track listing with handwritten notes. Honky Tonk Women says not bad. All Down the Line, fast, good. Rip This Joint, fast, good. So that's the cover of the box. So I'm going to open it up. Now, before you get really excited, this box is not complete. So here's my story today at Moonshot Emporium, and I'll throw this up there. So I'm going to open the box. Looks like that. And then when you open the box, this is what's inside of this box. And that is 3-dimensional book. It's like really thick, and that's the tongue, obviously. Now, if you know the Stones, that was the original covers of their original singles on Rolling Stones records, and I have a bunch of them. So this is what the logo of those singles used to look like. There's a great picture of Mick and Keith, and it's a book. that is called Dancing with Mr. D. And this is it. It is not in mint shape, but you're going to see it. Now, also in this box is a watch. A big, like a belt watch that needs a new battery, I take it. But it looks like that. So the only thing I got is the box, this huge box, and the book, and the watch. Now, what actually happened was when I went there, this book was laying on a shelf. It was marked $60. And I was like, what the hell book is this? I have never heard of this book, Dancing with Mr. D. Didn't know what it was. And it was $60, way, way beyond my price range for a book. So I'm going to take the book out. It looks like that. It comes out of the slipcase. Beautiful slipcase with the three-dimensional lips. And let me show you this book, because this book is just beautiful. And it looks like that. And it's mostly picture book, but there is graphics on there. So let's pull this up. You got the logo. You got some... So I'm reading the book in the store. Not reading it, but looking at it. And it says... featured on the accompanying CD to this book. And I'm like, there's no CD in this book. What the hell is going on? So I was confused. Anyway, I'm looking at the book. My daughter's like, you got to get this. You're never going to see this book again. You don't have this book. And I'm like, well, it is an awesome book, but there's no way I'm spending $60 on a book. As great as this book is. So let me show you some more pictures, and this is obviously all pictures from the 73 tour, maybe some from 72. It's hard to tell because they're sister tours, but it's the 73 tour on Brussels, of course. And you got these great, amazing pictures of the Stones in their prime. You got Mick Taylor. There's Billy Preston with his huge afro. Great crowd shots. The pictures are just amazing. You know, Mick dumping his water on his head, probably the end of Street Fighting Man. And then you got other backstage shots. Look at Billy Preston's afro right there. And backstage shots, amazing photos. There's Mick Taylor. And, you know, there is, a good amount of words on it as well. It's mostly pictures, but they talk about Goat's Head Soup and the tour and what was going on with the band. There's Billy Preston with his keyboards. And they talk about the live show. And then you get to the middle of the book, and you got these beautiful, and you can see it in the reflection there, beautiful, glossy photos. I mean, look at these shots. Amazing. Right? Truly the world's greatest rock and roll band back there. That's a famous shot of Mick. I've seen that before. And these are still more, lots more glossy, beautiful, thick paper. I have a couple of books up there that have shots like this. One's called The Concerts. I have it up there. Lots of great photos, as you can see. I mean, so this is just a beautiful book. There's a great concert shot right there. Mick and Keith. Bill Wyman, Charlie, the Stones Tongue. Balloon, Billy Preston, horns. Yeah, I mean, they did not skimp. This is a full-length, magnificent book, on 73. Now, if you know my channel, you know me, Goat's Head Soup is a really special album for me. I consider it an equal classic as part of that legacy from Beggar's Banquet through Exile, but I include Goat's Head Soup in there. I just love Goat's Head Soup. So that is the book. This book was laying on a table, didn't know what it was, and I spoke to the owner. I'm like, I'm really not a good negotiator, and I'm not really the kind of person who tries to negotiate, but I was interested in the book, but there was no way I was going to pay $60. And then I said to him, it says it comes with a CD. What is the deal? And he said, oh, that's part of a box set, the Brussels Affair. And I'm like, get out of here. I know that legendary box set. And he goes, oh, I got the watch. The watch is $10. Here's the watch. He was selling it piecemeal, basically. But he only had the book and he only had the watch. And turns out, and he had the watch. The watch was $10. I'm like, well, I'd be interested in the two of those. you got anything else from that box? He goes, well, I got the box itself, which I just showed you before. So I'm like, let's make a deal. And he was a really, really nice guy. And I'm not the kind of guy who likes to try to make deals, but he did. We settled on a price of like $50 for the whole thing, which I thought was really, really generous on his part. And I will certainly be going back there. And then I asked them if it's okay if I give them a shout out because they were really, really nice. And it's a great, great store. They even had 8-tracks. Didn't buy any. But they got 8-tracks, cassettes, magazines, clothes, old T-shirts, tour programs. Everything you can imagine is in the store. So, just want to give them a shout out because they kind of deserve it. Now, as far as Brussels Affair goes, my history of Brussels Affair, I never understood why the Stones have never really, really released it, and they really still haven't. I really came about it with this bootleg, which came out in 1988, called Brussels Affair 73 on Chameleon Records. When I got this on CD in 1988, it blew my head off. And I was like, oh my God, this is like incredible because it's like the 72 tour with Mick Taylor, but you got Heartbreaker, and you got Dancing with Mr. D, and you got Angie, all 3 in a row. And of course, I love Goat's Head Soup, and they're amazing performances. So I was like, this is incredible. And I knew that Brussels Affair initially was, like a radio broadcast from King Biscuit. At one point, I got this. This is actually not a CD. This is a bootleg DVD. And this bootleg DVD is actually the quadraphonic sound of the actual King Biscuit recording. This is the quad mix of the King Biscuit show. And it's even got the introduction, what was his name? Bill Menken, who used to do King Biscuit. He's on here, the Rolling Stones. It's awesome. It's very different than this. This is a little bit of a jumble. It's even got a couple of tracks from Wembley in London. So this is different. They're similar, but different. So, they're both like equally amazing. But this is still the one that I go back to. And then finally, the Stones decided to release Brussels Affair, their version of it, but they did it as a digital download. And I'm only physical media. So I had to digitally download it and burn the damn thing. And then I wound up buying a bootleg of it, which is this. And so it looks like a real album. This was a bootleg of the digital download that I paid for, so I don't feel bad. Brussels Affair 73. This is the actual Stones release. They did a really nice job, right? Looks great. Look at this track listing. It's still different than the bootleg. So the Stones did their own conglomeration of this thing, but it's also awesome. They're different performances. And this one's got Star Star as well, which is not originally on the bootleg and not on the King Biscuit Flower Hour show. So you kind of need all these different versions if you really want to be a completist like me. But the Stones did a good job. I will tell you that I still go back to this guy. And even the King Biscuit one when I'm in the mood for like a quad mix. I don't play the official release that much. But again, it was only a digital download. And I had to buy like a bootleg version of it. Until the Stones did this. They did the Super Deluxe version of Goat's Head Soup. And in the Super Deluxe edition of Goat's Head Soup, they finally gave us a CD copy of Brussels Affair right there with Star Star. So that's in the Super Deluxe edition. But, like any of these Super Deluxe editions, they're kind of a pain in the ass to go through, in my opinion. So you go through it here, and then, lo and behold, there is your Brussels Affair, officially released. This is the only place to officially get a hard copy of Brussels Affair from the Stones. So I think they should rectify that. Now, if you originally got this huge box, which I think was around $400 when it came out, it did come with the CD on hard copy and the vinyl version of it, which was a triple gatefold, triple vinyl set. I think it also came with a poster, so those are missing. But, you know, I got a pretty good deal on the box with the watch and the beautiful book, and I already have the CD. I just don't have the vinyl, and I don't have the poster. So not a bad day for me out in the wild. That's why you got to get out there. You got to explore. It's fun. You never know what you're going to find. I also bought this CD at the Moonshot Emporium, Ambrosia's first album, which I actually have on vinyl, but if you know my channel, I way prefer CDs, so I wind up dumping the original vinyl, which is kind of scratchy, and I'll have it on CD. And this was $5. So thank you, Moonshot Emporium. Don't know if you're ever going to see my little video, but I did tell them I'm going to do a video to check me out, so maybe they'll see it. But if you're ever in Seacliff, which is the North Shore of Long Island, I really recommend it. Got good pricing. Most importantly, they're really nice people, and they got a little bit of everything. So my commercial for Moonshot Emporium, but they deserve it. But most importantly, adding to the Stones collection, Brussels Affair, this uber, super duper, mega box set from the Stones. Yep. And stick it like, we'll stick it like right there. How's that sound? That looks good, right? And I got my Rolling Stones 1973 sweatshirt. Gotta love that artwork. I certainly do. So anyway, do you got Brussels Affair? If you don't, and you like the Rolling Stones, you have to get it in some form because it's an amazing live record. You know, my favorite Stones live album by far is Get Your Yayas Out, and I put Macambo up there. I put Even Love You Live is fun, but this guy is, whew, I mean, Mick Taylor, they're a different level with Mick Taylor. As always, thanks for watching. If you're new to my channel, hit subscribe. If you like the Rolling Stones as a playlist, Rolling Stones playlist with a lot of Rolling Stones videos, because I'm a really big fan, as you probably know. Check them out. And that's about it for now. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, stay healthy. I will see you next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show.